shine in holiness.
I saw the vision shining in the book so clear. John spoke the number I can almost hear. From every tribe and nation, chosen, set apart, sealed with Yah's own promise, written on their hearts.
They walk in righteousness, they follow the Lamb. No guy within their spirit, they're pure in his hand. Standing on Mount Zion, his voice fills the air. 44,000, Yah's love is there. And I looked and lo, him stood, sealed in his name. Kept through the fire, preserved through the flame. From Jacob's children, his promise is clear. 44,000, Yah's chosen are here.
They sing a song of glory no one else can sing. Redeemed from earth's corruption, worshiping the King. First fruits to the Father, faithful to the end. Through every trial and sorrow, Yah calls them friend.
They shine in holiness, their garments are white. In Yah's eternal presence, forever in his light. The earth may tremble, the nations may fear, but the sealed are standing strong, 'cause Yah is near. 44,000, sealed in his name. Kept through the fire, preserved through the flame. From Jacob's children, his promise is clear. One from the 44,000, Yah's chosen are here.
Oh, they'll never bow down to the beast or his crown. Their faith won't fade away, 'cause Yah's word still remains.
44,000, sealed in his name, carried by his mercy, never the same. Through the storm, through the years, 44,000. 44,000, Yah's chosen are here. Oh, 44,000, Yah's chosen are here. Oh, ooh, 44,000, Yah's chosen are here.
Shalom, family. Sorry about that. I had to end that session. Everything froze up on my end. So hopefully this time it will work with no problem. Shalom to everybody in the chat. I want to also thank, because a few of you have sent me PayPal and Cash App, and I want to thank you all for your support for my channel. It's always deeply appreciated. So what's going on now is Donald Trump, it was probably back in July, he had promised the farmers, because they were whining that, their crops were rotting because they had no workers. And, the hilarious part is they thought Black people were going to come and take up all those spots, and they are astonished that we never showed up. Who the hell is going to do that work again? We paid our dues. We're not going out in those fields for any of you. You'll never get that again. after chattel slavery and um, sharecropping, and you think you're going to get us back out there? And the harsh treatment we got from you through Jim Crow and being out there as sharecrop. So, y'all, um, first of all, I want to take the opportunity to thank my brothers and sisters that have contributed through GoFundMe, PayPal, and also Cash App. Thank you so much for your support. It's deeply appreciated for my channel. I do appreciate it. And, we're going to talk about Donald Trump going back on his word to the farmers. It's primarily the white farmers because let's face it, black farmers didn't have these undocumented workers because they never got the same opportunity in farming. This government has showed for centuries they don't support our farmers. They support white farmers only in this society. So they're really the only one that had undocumented workers. So they whined to Donald Trump, and I believe it was back in July when Donald Trump had said he was going to ease back on the raids on farms because, they were complaining their crops are rotting because, too pathetic to go out there and do the work themselves. And well, here we are in September. They're getting raided again. So much for Donald Trump having their backs. Donald Trump don't care about these farmers at the end of the day. He doesn't care about them at all. And they are carrying on because they had to lose their crops and millions of dollars are lost, and I want y'all to always remember one thing about the white farmer. The white farmer is sitting on all the land they have stolen from black farmers, and this government helped them do it. Never forget that. They got robbed out of millions and millions of acres of land that these white farmers to this very day got. All that stolen land, they have it. That's why when they are now going through all this trouble, I can't, I'm losing my crops. I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for y'all, you know? And that's why when people were looking around, saying, how come all the farmers on social media whining are just white farmers? Well, that's because those are the farmers this federal government would only support. They would only support the white farmer. They would never support the black farmer. That's why you didn't see black farmers whining. Black farmers didn't have undocumented workers. They didn't have the opportunity or even the money to even bring on illegals. But white farmers did. And we saw when the USAID went down, the only ones that lost that money were white farmers. They didn't even have contracts with black farmers. You didn't see the black farmers saying, oh my goodness, my food, I won't be able to send it overseas. No, it was only the white farmers because this federal government, those were the only farmers they were willing to give loans to, grants to, and all kinds of support were to white farmers only. So, in a way, it was good what Donald Trump and Elon has done. It's good because it revealed the truth. Nobody can now lie and try to say they had the same opportunities when they absolutely didn't. It's just now, y'all, I don't know how much y'all been paying attention. A lot of these white folks in red states are crying to their Republican congressmen saying that Donald Trump's policies are hurting them. You know why, y'all? Because white people are the biggest ones on welfare, and Donald Trump has cut welfare, Section 8, Medicaid. Who you think is on there the most? white people, right? They are crying crocodile tears to their representatives now because they are getting all of those things cut. And recently, Donald Trump came out and said he don't want anybody on Section 8 no longer than 2 years, which means a lot of these white people are going to have to look for a place to stay. See, I think, they're trying to act all shocked that most of the people complaining about getting cut from, welfare, SNAP, Section 8, Medicaid are white. They're shocked to see it. I'm not. We all knew, what this was all about. Remember, welfare was designed for white people from the jump. It was designed back in the 1930s. And what was our people doing in the 1930s? They were going through Jim Crow. They were not eligible to be on welfare. They couldn't get any. It was designed strictly for white people. It was a safety net for them. It was never intended for us at all. Our people didn't start getting it until 30 years later in the 60s. But they have always been the biggest recipients in the country. It's never been no era where they were not getting it more than anyone else. Well, it's the same way with farmers. The farmers were getting all the subsidies and all the loans and all the grants. And there was never any period of time where black farmers were getting those same things. They pretty much had to fend, and still do have to fend for themselves. They don't have a safety net. Many of them are doing the work themselves. They always had to do the work themselves. They couldn't have no illegals on these black farms. They couldn't. They were barely making it themselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into these videos. And, it's the same ones that are always whining, but, don't feel too sorry for the white farmer. These white farmers are sitting on the stolen land of black farmers, and this federal government never did a damn thing about it. So I never feel sorry for them. Damn near all of these white farmers got stolen land in their possession that was stolen from black farmers. That's why I never feel bad for them when they're on these videos complaining. Where did that land come from? And where did your grandfather get that land? And where did your great grandfather get that land? Trust me, that land, many of them got, many is stolen land, millions of acres that black farmers lost, even going back over 100 years. And they absorbed all that land, and this federal government didn't do anything to stop them. Not only did our people lose their farmland, they were, in many cases, ran off the farm altogether. So I never feel sorry for them. I don't care if their stuff is drying up. So what? So what? At least you have 4,000 acres of land for stuff to dry up on. Black farmers don't even have that. So I wish I would sit around and feel sorry for them. I don't. All right, y'all, let's get into these videos. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
are oranges. Over here on I-5 in Central California, these are the crops that are usually green, lush, beautiful trees, almond trees, and they're left to rot because of ice. There's no one to work it.
You've got more than 30 acres of this farm with fruit that looks like this, like rotting on the trees. These are cherry trees. These are cherries that are more than 2 weeks past their prime. They weren't picked because the farmer who runs this farm says his workforce was too scared to show up this year.
Our workforce is primarily immigrants. You could have all the children born in the United States, but if mom's still trying to work through the immigration system and has an issue, the whole family might say, like, look, we're not going to risk it because we don't want mom to get picked up, so we're going to stay down in California.
Fear of ICE raids kept many of them from traveling north this year. To understand why, we head south to Central California.
So we're hoping that one of those farm working families will actually talk to us here and give us a sense of what life is like in hiding. I think you're good. No names or anything there.
Behind closed doors, making dinner with her mom, we meet Lisa.
Like every single summer, we will go up there. My parents or myself will pick cherries. But this year, we decided to stay home just to be safe.
Because you're living essentially as though you're going to be targeted at any moment.
Yes.
You've got to buy food.
Yes.
You've got to go shopping. You do leave for that.
Yes, I have to. I mean, someone has to in the house.
Lisa's here under DACA, a program that gives temporary protection to people brought to the U.S. as children. Her 3 young kids, all U.S. citizens.
This is my new avatar.
You can tell they get kind of bored, like cooped up inside.
No playgrounds, no summer sun. She's afraid of getting picked up by immigration while out and the family getting separated. She's even thinking about homeschooling this fall, just to keep them close. But it's her mom she thinks about most, still picking crops in her 60s.
I would like to point that out. My mom is not a criminal. And it hurts. Sorry. Back in 2020, when the whole pandemic happened, my parents were being considered essential workers, and now they have to hide. I told my mom that, and she feels that this is just a phase, that if we just gotta hang in there, be hopeful, and it's gonna pass.
Someone has to talk about what's actually going down here. We're normal people. We work with normal people, good, hardworking people that have good work ethic. They are part of our community. Just like my arm is connected to my body, they are part of us. So it's not just a matter of just like cutting them off and be like, all right, see you later. If we lose them, we lose part of who we are as well. As a farmer and a human being, we have the responsibility to take care of people that take care of us. And that's how life, I guess, should work, in my opinion.
Y'all got pissed when I posted this picture. Does this make it better?
Videos about how
Is
the
it better
protesters
that
are
you're
gonna
seeing it
fucking
in
get
real
it?
fucking
And honestly,
life now?
there's nothing more disgusting to me than that fucking statement.
The farmers tell us we don't have migrants coming in. You know, we basically hire the same group of people every single year for the picking season. We know them all by name. We have dealt with them for years and years and years. They come back to our farm every year. They're not here this year. They didn't come. And these farmers say only about half of the usual workers who come over did end up coming over, which is still not enough. And they said, we have crops rotting in the fields. The fruit is rotting on the trees. The vegetables are rotting in the soil because there's not enough people to do the work. And they said explicitly, it's because either ICE has already deported some of these people when they were working on other farms, or 2, they don't want to come over here because they know if they do, they could be subjected to an ICE raid. So that horrible apocalyptic situation that I have laid out as a possibility multiple times this year is starting to happen now. The crops are rotting. And it doesn't take, a genius to understand how the friggin' food chain works, folks. If we have fewer crops as a country, that means when you go to the grocery store, there's going to be fewer items available for you to purchase. There will be scarcity. Scarcity drives up prices. That's what happened with eggs when we had to cull the flocks because of the bird flu. Shortage of eggs led to skyrocketing prices. Now imagine that happening across the board with every single piece of fruit or piece of produce in the grocery store. That's a lot heavier on your budget than just eggs. But don't worry, eggs will also be affected. Because you see, those crops that these farmers are growing that again are now rotting out there in the fields, those aren't just for human consumption. Some of the other foods we eat those foods as well, right? Those crops are livestock feed. So when we don't have feed for the livestock, they get malnourished and possibly die. So in order to have enough to go around, these, livestock farmers will end up having to cull the herd, because that is what they feel is more humane than letting these animals starve to death. So there goes your meat as well. So your fruits, your vegetables, your meats, everything. The entire food chain gets affected by this. But this is what happens. This is what Trump voted for. This, or Trump ran on, excuse me. This is what Trump voters voted for. This is what we warned you about all last year, and y'all voted for him anyway. And again, I don't necessarily have empathy for the farmers when they say, I'm going to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. You voted to lose that money, so I have no sympathy. But the problem is, this problem is not just with the farmers. This is a problem that affects every single person in this country. So I do, on that level, have empathy for the human race, for American citizens, right? We're screwed. We all are. Doesn't matter who you voted for, you're going to feel the impacts of this. Nobody is immune. Nobody escapes, because all of us depend on food to live. And we're about to hit that situation. Because the rotting is happening now, those supply trucks showing up at your local grocery store, they're going to be fewer and further between starting now.
So I just saw a video of a farmer in Florida who states that Donald Trump is the best president in his lifetime and that he supports Ron DeSantis 100%, but he's begging these migrant workers, these undocumented workers, to not leave because he's going bankrupt.
And why don't I hire Americans? The simple answer is we can't get the workers. No American ever calls. No American ever shows up. That's why we are so grateful for the guys that are willing to come and do the work here on the farm. We can't do this without them. And
what's up, guys? Guess what? Florida farmers, they don't have anyone to go and pick their crops, and they're begging for your help. They're begging people to help, and people are telling them, call MAGA to come and support you. So that's what will be today's video. Credit belongs to the owner of the videos. I'll be back with commentary.
Understand, MAGA, why aren't you guys in these fields in Florida? It's super weird. You guys need to get in these fields. This is your dream, not ours, MAGA. Get in these fields and pick the food. I'm so confused where you all are at. You guys are, and believe me, I've done the research. You're all not college educated. This is where you guys should be at. You said a job is a job. That's what you guys said. You said that immigrants were taking our jobs. So you guys need to get in these fields and pick the damn fruit and vegetables. You wanted this. Where are you at? I don't understand why you guys aren't picking all the fruit in the fields. Get in there and get our food.
Y'all, I'm gonna whisper because my daughter's sleeping literally right next to me, but my mind is blown. I live in Davie in Broward County, Florida, well, close to Davie, and there's a farm called, I'll post it here, but Family Farms Davie. It's next to Western High School. And I've been seeing videos lately from my friends going around of their cows being like anorexic and super skinny. So I know people that go and feed them like cheese or watermelon or whatever. And I was just scrolling Instagram and I saw that the owner, something Hoover, was arrested on 16 counts of, I'm gonna just post it, but like animal cruelty, abuse, and death. Looks like we will never be going back there. And I hope these animals are taken to a better place. Channel 6 News is there right now. My friend just went and saw, and they interviewed her and everything. She's like submitted proof that he was abusing the animals. There's so much proof out there, it's crazy. But just hold on. Okay, so this was them posting that they're closed because literally their owner got arrested yesterday for killing animals.
So guys, all these tomatoes we are
are rotting on the vine, and they're blaming the ongoing trade wars and immigration changes.
What does this mean for the future of our food? The Night Team's Heather Walker has a look at tonight's 7 Investigates.
Perfectly good tomatoes are being plowed over instead of picked. It's a sad scene happening in South Florida.
You can't even afford to pick them right now between the cost of the labor and the inputs that go in. It's more cost effective for the farmers to just plow them right now.
Heather Moling understands the struggles that farmers are facing right now. She's part of the family that runs the Homestead produce stand. Robert is here.
These are local tomatoes here.
She says farmers used to get $16 for a box of tomatoes. It's now down to $3 or $4.
Just a horrible price. Some of that has been from what Mexico is bringing into the country, and some of that has been just with the threat of the tariffs.
Farmers say President Trump's tariffs and the threat of tariffs have caused thousands of acres of tomatoes to go to waste because the cost to pack and pick them is more than what tomatoes are selling for this year.
It costs you, close to, probably over $10 a box, close to $11 a box to break even. So if you're selling tomatoes for $3 and $4 and $5, you can just figure out pretty quickly what the losses are.
Tony Damari with Damari Homestead says his company has experienced huge losses. He won't disclose how much, but says South Florida farmers are hurting.
The Mexican industry exported, in some cases, double and triple their daily volumes as to beat being subject to the 25% tariff in February and March and the 10% tariff in April. That just devastated our markets in the U.S.
Those tariffs never went into effect, but the damage was done. When Mexico flooded the market with cheap tomatoes, local farmers couldn't compete and didn't even bother picking their fields. Now the U.S. government has plans to put an anti-dumping duty on fresh Mexican tomatoes starting in July to try and prevent that from happening again. And it's not just tomatoes from Mexico that's hurting our farmers. South Florida sends a lot of different produce to Canada, which put a 25% tariff on our crops.
Another watermelon grower in the state had called me about concern and question on the tariff. His customers in Canada, which Canada for the Florida watermelon growers in the springtime is a big market, had told him that they, because of the tariff and the added cost to Florida watermelons, they were in fact going to bypass sourcing Florida watermelons for this spring as long as the 25% tariff was in place. In fact, they were going to source their watermelon needs from Mexico.
Immigration changes are also taking a toll. Many pickers are afraid to go to work.
Many workers have left. Others are leaving now.
This man agreed to talk to us if we agreed to hide his identity. He's worried about being deported.
A lot of people are really afraid, and sometimes they come, sometimes they don't come, and the harvest is lost because it cannot be harvested. So that's why so much produce is lost.
What's the feeling from farmers right now? Like, how are you feeling?
Not very good, to be honest with you.
And with the current policies on tariffs and immigration, Florida farmers are not planting a secure future.
In what is shaping up to be one of the most embarrassing policy backfires of his political career, Donald Trump's sweeping deportation plan is plunging America's agricultural heartland into absolute chaos. While the headlines focus on border walls and anti-immigration rhetoric, the reality on the ground is far more rotten, quite literally. Across farm-rich states like California, Texas, and Iowa, crops are wilting in the fields, not from drought or pestilence, but from sheer neglect. With the threat of mass deportations looming large, thousands of undocumented farm workers, the very lifeblood of America's produce industry, are either fleeing, hiding, or simply refusing to show up for work. And without them, farms are collapsing under their own weight. The numbers are staggering. Over 235,000 tons of wheat, corn, lettuce, and strawberries are reportedly sitting unharvested, rapidly turning to mush in the spring heat. Videos from local news stations show acres upon acres of untouched fields, with farmers helplessly watching their profits rot before their eyes. And make no mistake, this isn't a case of poor planning. It's a direct result of Donald Trump's newest campaign centerpiece, a massive militarized deportation effort that he promises will be bigger than anything we've ever seen before. But here's the problem. The very people he's targeting are the ones who've been doing the jobs no one else wants. Farm labor in America has long relied on immigrant workers, many of them undocumented. They harvest the food, often in grueling conditions, for wages most Americans would never accept. They're not invaders. They're the workforce. And now they're gone. I've never seen anything like this, said one farmer in California's Central Valley. We've had hard seasons, but never because we didn't have workers. Now we're losing entire harvests. We're losing everything. It's not just produce going to waste. The entire supply chain is starting to crack. Food processing plants are running below capacity. Truckers have fewer shipments to haul. Supermarket shelves are thinning. And prices, they're already on the rise, with analysts warning this could lead to the most significant food inflation spike in over a decade. And where is Trump in all of this? Still holding rallies, still promising to clean up the border, still refusing to acknowledge that his anti-immigrant crusade is gutting the very industries he claims to champion. Even traditionally conservative
Well, things are not getting better, y'all. You know, the farmers, even if you see some of the more recent videos that they're putting out, things are not getting better for these primarily white farmers. And some of them have given up. They said they're not even going to plant another crop because they don't have anybody to work their crops. So, hey, they voted for Donald Trump. Donald Trump was very upfront about who he was going to deport out of here. And those were the people that were showing up and working for them. And they went into the voting booth and voted against their own best interests. They do that kind of stuff all the time. This time it is costing them their livelihood. So I guess they didn't really think it through, or maybe they thought it was a chance it wasn't going to impact them. I don't know. But I think it's pretty pathetic when you won't even feed your farm animals. You're going to let them walk around anorexic and not feed them? Wow. You won't take care of your crop. You won't take care of your livestock. That's why a lot of people are saying, who's the real lazy one now? Just saying. You know, I can't feel sorry for them because they did this to themselves. They really did. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank Lisa Parker for becoming a 15-month channel member. Thank you, Queen Lisa, for being the beautiful and strong queen you truly are. Thank you so much for your membership and your support for my channel. And Janet Johnson, thank you for your super chat. Old McDonald's had a farm. Yeah, they had a farm and they won't even take care of that farm. That says a lot right there. Thank you for your support from my channel. Okay, y'all, please enjoy the rest of your night and be on the lookout for my videos for tomorrow. Shalom, family.